to the mic. For the brother side, is there anyone who has a question to come to the mic? And anyone who has a question from the sister side to come to the mic. We'll start with the brothers. Please again make sure that you ask one question, and please do not give another lecture, yeah? Just the question, please. Yes, please, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
As the brothers, as the coordinator mentioned, that we'd first request if there are any questions from the non-Muslims. You know, the non-Muslims are our guest of honor today. So if there are any questions from the non-Muslims, you're most welcome to ask first. This is the opportunity. I'm young, I can take it. You can ask any questions. Even if it's attacking Islam, attacking me, attacking the Quran, inshallah, I'll try my level best to reply to the best of my ability. Normally, after religious talk, you don't have question-answer sessions, you know, because in the question-answer session, you can be exposed. Here we like it. We know we are on the haqq, and we know Quran is on the haqq. So if there are any non-Muslim who would like to ask any questions, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, this is the opportunity. We'd like to give the first opportunity to our non-Muslim brothers and sisters. If there are any non-Muslim who would like to ask a question, they can break the queue. Yes, brother, most welcome. Any non-Muslim brother? Is there any non-Muslim sister who would like to ask a question? There may be some non-Muslim who may be shy to ask questions. Normally when we organize in India, as I told you, we have 20% non-Muslim. Yes. MashaAllah.
Can we have from our organizer maybe a mic there, or it will be too far?
If you can even keep one more microphone on the top, if possible.
Yeah.
Or there's one microphone here.
Yeah. He have chosen the closest place to be in. It's fine, they will have another mic. Okay. Maybe meanwhile we take a question from the...
Can someone give a microphone on the top, on the second floor? It would have been better if one microphone was placed on each floor.
That should be a very, very good question, huh? And a shahada, inshallah. Yes, we have someone there. Yeah, we'll take it there. Okay. I will give to one of the organizers.
Thank you. Ramadan Mubarak, Dr. Naik, I consider this my great Ramadan gift, the opportunity of seeing you in flesh and blood after 15 years of watching so many of your shows on YouTube. It's a real honor, sir, and I wish you a great stay in Muscat and a very successful and enjoyable stay and success in your mission here. Sir, I have a small clarification I need from you.
What's your good name, brother?
My name is Pradeep. I'm a marketing professional working in Oman, in Muscat. Yeah.
MashaAllah.
So my question is, I just want a clarification. This is something that's been percolating in my mind. I've heard you say that Islam is about submitting to His will.
Sorry, Islam is?
About submitting to God's will. Correct.
God? Sorry, I didn't get
God's will.
God's will, yes.
Yes. So in that context, this whole concept of offering dua, prayer, supplication to God, asking Him for something, whether it's blessings or good health or whatever, isn't that strictly speaking against the concept of submitting to His will? Because if you have submitted to His will, then He decides and you accept whatever and keep going. But once you're asking Him, that is not just in Islam, in any faith, even as a Hindu, when I feel that when I'm asking God for something, it is in a way, I'm not really completely submitted myself to it. I just want your clarification on this matter.
Brother Pradeep has asked a very good question.
Thank you.
And Brother Pradeep is one of my proof that I said in my lecture that most of the non-Muslims hear my talk, they love me. I'd like to thank you, Brother Pradeep.
Thank you so much.
He's been watching me for 15 years and he's happy to see me live. And he asked a question that Islam means submitting your will. And a Muslim is a person who submits his will to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So his question is that when we ask dua from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so isn't it contradictory that we are going against his will? And the answer is no, brother. Submitting the will means Allah has given you certain guidelines, few do's and don'ts. Everything else is optional. You know, people think, oh, Islam is very strict, thousands of do's and thousands of don'ts. No, no. Only few do's and few don'ts. Fard is, you should believe in Tawheed, you should offer Salah, you should give Zakat, fast in the month of Ramadan, you have to do Hajj. Amongst the major do's and don'ts, there is a book called Kabair, written by Imam al-Dhahabi, the 70 major sins, which includes even the major fara'is. So these 70 are the major do's and don'ts. Then there are minor do's and don'ts. Major do's means the major fara'is, offering salah, giving zakat, doing hajj. And the major haram is not to take interest, you should not gamble, you should not have alcohol, you should not bribe. So these are the major do's and don'ts. And the remaining is optional. You can become a doctor, you can become an engineer, you can become a dai, you can become a lawyer, you can become an engineer. If I do the dua to Allah, make me a dai, am I going against Allah's will? No. Yes, if I say, oh Allah, make me a robber, then there's a problem. Because Allah says you should not rob. So if your dua is going against the guidelines of the Quran, then I agree with you, you are going against the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you cannot do a dua for doing something haram. You cannot do dua that I want to become an alcoholic. You cannot do a dua that I want to become a zani, I want to become an adulteress. You can do dua, doctor, engineer, lawyer, all are mubah. So your dua, if it's against the don'ts, then it is wrong. If your dua are not to do with this fard, I want to do dua that I don't want to offer salah, it's not accepted. So do you understand, brother? So if you do certain dua, very few dua, it will go against the will of Allah. And I don't know of any Muslim who does such dua. Maybe few here or there, if they're not in the right state of mind. But the other things which are mubah, you say, okay, I want to be rich, no problem. You can do dua which may not be very good, but you can do anything which is mubah. For example, you want to get a job in a good company, you can do dua to Allah. So, your dua is not going against the concept of submitting your will. It only goes if you do something which is against the commandment of Allah. Hope that answers the question, brother. Yes, brother, you can ask the next question.
Hey, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. That was very enlightening. Thank you.
Anything else, brother? You have any other question?
No, sir. There are a lot of questions, but not now.
No, for the non-Muslim, we have exception. The brother said one at a time, but for non-Muslim, they can ask a second question, no problem.
I'll keep it for it.
If you have any questions, you're most welcome.
No, that urgent, sir. Maybe your show in Sultan Qaboos University, I'll come with
Sorry?
the next question. Maybe your next show, I'll come for your next speech at SQ.
If you want, you can ask, brother. Any doubt, if you have any clarification regarding Islam, anything you feel which is wrong in Islam, this is your opportunity. What do you feel is wrong with Islam? You can be comfortable here. You can attack Islam, you can attack Zakir, you can attack the Quran. What do you feel is wrong with Islam?
I didn't get you, sir. What's that?
Sorry?
No, nothing wrong in Islam, but there is another. Can I ask you? This is about the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Any questions you can ask, no problem.
Okay. I don't know. Again, there is a particular quotation or a saying, something which is attributed to Prophet Muhammad, which I find it a little uncharacteristic, sir. I mean, you're a doctor. You know more than anybody else that leprosy as a disease is one of the least infectious diseases.
Sorry, which disease?
Leprosy. Leprosy as
Leprosy,
a disease.
yes.
It's one of the least infectious diseases and spreads only through a prolonged contact with the person who's affected. So I read a statement which says that the Prophet said, run away from a leper as you would run away from a lion. But I've also read that he has sat and actually dined and eaten food with a patient, a leprosy sufferer.
Yes.
So, but then when you say Jesus says go heal the sick, and at the same time when you're listening to this statement of the Prophet, is that, I just want to check the veracity. Did he really say that, or was it being falsely attributed? And the fact that he has actually partaken food with a leprosy sufferer, so I just want to know the truth of the matter. Is that really a statement made by him?
I don't know which hadith you're referring to.
No, this is completely from the net and also from a movie I saw on the Netflix called The Rise of Ottoman Empire, where this quotation is mentioned. And it's there, it's available on the net that he has mentioned something like this.
The brother asked a question that there's a hadith of the Prophet that a person runs away from leprosy like a person runs away from a lion. And at the same time, the Prophet did share the food with a leper. So what does the hadith mean? What you have to understand...
Not that, sir. I just want to know whether the Prophet really said that, because somebody who can sit and have a saying, I mean, I'm sure because it's that sentence that run away from him, like you run away from a lion, it's a little uncharacteristic or somewhat lacking in sensitivity, which I doubt whether he would have said it really. Or is it being falsely put on the net that something like this is...
The brother asked you a question that is this hadith authentic hadith? Because there are many hadith authentic and there are zaif. But natural, when you get a hadith, you have to, if you give me the reference, I'll be in a better position. That is the reason I asked you the reference.
Okay.
What we understand, that all the hadith that are there in the Bukhari and the Muslim authentic, from the other kutub al-sitta, whether it be other hadith like Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, Nasai, majority are sahih but not all. There are other books in which there are more zaif. So that's the reason when you get a hadith, you have to first analyze whether the hadith is sahih or not.
Okay.
As far as this hadith is concerned, I have not checked up with the sources whether it's a sahih or not.
Okay.
That's the reason I asked you the reference.
Okay.
If you are going to reference it, it would be easy for me
I'm sorry, I don't have the reference there, but I've just read this quote. It's available on the net. And actually, I saw this quote in this Netflix series called Rise of Ottoman Empire. There is this particular quote where he talks about that Ottoman Empire talks about what the Prophet said. And then that got me wondering, is that really there? So when I just went to the net and I found that it is there on the internet. But again, internet may not be always correct. There's so much of rubbish coming on that. So.
If it's a sahih hadith, we have to agree with it. If it's not authentic, then there are many hadiths which are zaif also.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other question?
No, sir, no. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Brother, do you believe that there's one God?
I'm still trying to figure out anything that helps me, I'll believe, sir. If one God, I don't know. My concept of God is evolving. I believe God could be truth, like generation, organization, destruction, God, God. So I don't know. I'm still trying to find out, sir. And that's the reason
do you believe in one God or do you believe multiple gods?
No, I believe that God could be one, deities could be many. I don't know whether I believe in God or I know there's God, or I'm trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out.
My request to you would be, brother, that you do read the Quran. Maybe you have read it. If you read the translation of the Quran, then many of your queries will be answered.
Sure, sir.
If you read the translation, you'll bring a great favor to me.
Definitely, sir.
Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
So now we'll move to the sister's side. Do we have a question from the sister's side? Any question?
Are there any non-Muslim who would like to ask a question? Any non-Muslim sister would like to ask a question?
No, this Muslim.
If there is non-Muslim brother, any other non-Muslim brother would like to ask a question, we'd like to give them the first opportunity. Any non-Muslim brother who has a query regarding Islam, regarding my talk? Any non-Muslim? You can come on the microphone here.
We have one on top there. Do you have a mic?
Yes, I do. I do have a mic.
Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Debbie, and I have a question
Sister, where
for
are you
sir.
on the first floor or the second floor? Yeah, second floor.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I do have a question for you. You told us that the Quran has has solutions for the current problems we are facing as youth, as people in the world at the moment. So my question is, as youths currently, most of us are facing a lot of mental health issues. You're constantly in a battle within yourself, in your mind, and you feel like you do not have solutions to those problems, whether it's therapy and all these other things. So now my question is, how can the Quran help us in navigating that issue? And can you kindly advise me on some of the verses I could read from the Quran to help me with, everything?
The sister has asked a very important question. The sister has rightly said, in today's world, there are many people who have anguish, who have mental problems, who have difficulty in thinking. So how can the Quran help them? And that's what I said in my talk, that the Quran is a solution to the problems of humanity. And especially, I told and I requested towards the end of my talk that you should read the Quran, the translation, in the language you understand the best. Because, my father was a psychiatrist, I'm a medical doctor, a general physician, but my father was a psychiatrist, may Allah grant him Jannah. And he used to tell me also that if you read many a times, you yourself may not know what is troubling in your mind. And when you read the Quran is a unique book. When you read the Quran, you find that many of the things you were thinking, the reply is given in the Quran. And to read the full Quran will not take very long. Depending, if you want to read one chapter a day, it will take you 30 days. If you want to read 2 chapters a day, it will take you 15 days. If you read 3 chapters a day, it will take you 10 days. So sister, my request to you would be that if you read the translation of the Quran slowly with understanding, because the Quran is unique,
Yes.
depending upon what your problem is. As the Quran says, that verily your hearts will find serenity. And the Quran, it has many solutions, which normally, if you read a Quran and I read, both may look at it at a different angle. The beauty of the Quran is that the same verse, if a layman reads it, he thinks a different way. If an intellectual reads it, he thinks in a different way. A scientist reads it, he thinks in a different way. That they read in the tafasir of the Quran, one verse can have 20 meanings. And when a person who has problem, he thinks in his way. So when you read the Quran, but naturally if you go to a person who's specialized, and if you discuss with the person what is the problem, he may be able to guide you. Just generally, if you ask me which verse to read, I say all the verses are good, mashallah. But if you have a specific problem, like if you have a problem of alcoholism, the verse is Surah Ma'idah chapter 5 verse 90. If you have a problem of economics, then it is Surah Tawbah, it is Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse 179. So I gave a few examples in my talk.
Okay.
About poverty, about racism, about alcoholism, there's gambling. I can go on and on. So depending, and it's not good to talk about your problem in public generally, sister. You understand, no?
Yeah.
So what I would advise you, that generally, if you read the translation of the Quran, maybe 2 juz a day, it may take an hour for you, or half an hour, maybe 1 juz a day.
Yeah.
With understanding, surely. There are high chances the solution you'll find. If you don't find, you can surely ask with some of the Islamic Dawah centers,
Yeah.
the people who are more well-versed, depending upon what the problem is. And they will be able, those people who are well-versed with the Quran, surely they will be able to guide you. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may your mental anguish be completely dissolved, will completely go away. But even by listening to the recitation of the Quran, There are many non-Muslims who I know that when you hear the recitation of the Quran, and I ended my talk, sister, with the verse of the Quran of Surah Isra, chapter 17, verse number 81, which says, وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَذَاقَ الْبَاطِلُ. When truth is heard against falsehood, falsehood perishes. And for falsehood is by its nature bound to perish. And it continues that the Quran has been sent down as a mercy to the believers. That means only by hearing the Quran, many a times you get serenity. When I meet people who accepted Islam, they said, why you accept Islam? I like the azan. Did you understand this? I say, no. It is unique. So everyone has its own reason for liking it. And when you read the translation, each verse has a different dimension. That is the beauty of the Quran. So my request to you would be the same, which I said in the end of my talk, that you owe it to yourself. You may have read many books in your life to get a degree, to get a bachelor's degree, or educate yourself. Why don't you read one more book? One book. It is a book from a creator. Read it in the language you understand the best, and inshallah, it will solve most of your problems. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any more non-Muslims from the brothers? Anyone else would like to pose a question? Anyone? Non-Muslim? From the sister's side, do we have anyone who would like to pose a question, a non-Muslim? We don't have any? He would like to...
Small.
And they say no.
Okay, please.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammed Mustafa Khan. I'm from Pakistan. I'm 10 years old. So I have a question.
What's your name, brother?
Mohammed Mustafa Khan.
Sorry?
Mohammed Mustafa Khan.
Muhammad Mustafa.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Yes, brother.
Okay, so Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam is one of the most important angels. But
Sorry, can you speak a bit slowly and away from the mic? Yes. Yes.
Hazrat Jibreel is one of the most important angels, right? So his job was to reveal the books to the prophets. But now the revelation is over, so what does he do now? What's his job?
The brother asked a very unique question. And sometimes, you know, the children, they ask the best questions. And they ask the toughest questions. The young brother asked a question that one of the major role of Archangel Gabriel was to deliver the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the messengers. And he delivered the last and final message, the Quran, to our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, since there is going to be no other message, what is his role now? The point to be noted is that that was one of his major roles. There may be he's having minor roles. That was one of his major roles, to deliver the message. That's the reason he was called as one of the best of the angels. And even the angels are referred to as messengers. Messenger is the person who delivers the message. There are messengers among the human beings, and even the angels are referred to as messengers. Regarding what he's doing now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has assigned every angel. That doesn't mean that every angel has to be doing work every time. Correct?
Yes.
It's not required. So whatever role Allah has prescribed to every angel, that angel does it. Whether it's 24 hours a day, whether it's 10 hours a day, whether it's 2 hours a day, or whether it's resting. You know, many people retire.
Yes.
The angels don't retire. Huh? You know, many people, the angels don't retire. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who may say, okay, now you rest, now you do. Like the Hadith says that there are 70,000 angels doing tawaf round the Kaaba. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has assigned each job. So based on what Allah has assigned, they're doing. If Allah says they should rest, they will rest. I'm not saying that Allah has asked Archangel Gabriel to rest. Allah alam, I don't know. So what Allah tells us, we know. What our beloved Prophet says, we know. What we don't know, we don't know. So maybe he's resting. Maybe Allah has given him some other job, we don't know. But surely we know that he was one of the most important angels. That's the reason called Archangel Gabriel. Hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you. Thanks.
Can we give chances to others? So one question at a time, yes.
Thank you.
Are there any non-Muslim like to ask any question? Any non-Muslim would like to ask a question from the brother side or from the sister side?
Where I see someone is pointing.
Anyhow, while we continue with the question and session, there is a
Where,
non-Muslim?
I think there is someone there
Yes, brother.
on top.
Sorry, we cannot see because of the light. Yes, brother, most welcome.
Yes, can you give him the mic? Yes, please.
So the brother was saying there are no non-Muslims, you are wrong. Actually, you have to make them comfortable. So maybe you are scaring them.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Zakir Naik.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May
Chaudhry
peace be on you.
Bisharat with you.
Sorry?
Chaudhry Bisharat with you.
MashaAllah. Most welcome, Brother Chaudhry.
Welcome to Oman again, sir.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you physically again. You are with us 24 hours a day.
MashaAllah. Yes, today the
Dr.
media
Saab.
is there.
My question, I was just hearing a speech by somebody today that Zakat can be given to needy and not needy. Could you please clarify that? Thank you.
Sorry if I heard your question correctly. A zakat can be given to a needy and not needy.
Needy and not needy.
Needy or not needy.
Yes.
The brother asked a question
Thank you,
that when you're discussing with someone, zakat can be given to a needy or not needy. The criteria to zakat can be given, there are 8 categories. It's mentioned in Surah Tawbah, chapter number 9, verse number 60, where Allah says, you can give zakat to a fuqara. That's a poor person. A definition, fuqara means a person who has a saving of more than the nisab level, more than 85 grams of gold, he's called a fuqara. Means a poor person, a fakir. So one first category to whom you can give zakat is a poor person. If he doesn't have a saving of more than 85 grams of gold, if he doesn't fall in the category of nisab, he's called as fuqara. Second is, the Quran says masakin, a needy. A needy means a person who has some requirement. He may have a saving of maybe more than 85 grams of gold, but he doesn't have a house. He becomes a needy. So you can give zakat money. He may have a saving of more than 85 grams of gold, which may be, I don't know, in Omani riyals, maybe a few lakh rupees. If I say in rupees, you're an Indian. But maybe he requires more money to buy a house. So you can give your zakat money to a person who's needy, who doesn't have a house. Maybe he wants a medical assistant. The person has a heart attack. He wants to do an operation, a bypass surgery, doesn't have money, he's needy. So he may not be a very poor person. He may be above the nisab level, but may require help for his operation. He may require help from his education. So the second category is needy. Needy means what is the requirement of a person, whether it be for education, whether it be housing. It should not be extravagant. That is the second category. The third category, it is amilun, those who are engaged in collecting zakat. So if a person is leaving his job and is spending time in collecting, so what is his value? That much he can take from the zakat. If he's doing a job and getting a salary of maybe a few thousand rupees, so he can see to it that that much equivalent he can take from the zakat money, amilun. Number 4 is mu'allafatul qulub, those whose hearts are coming towards Islam. You can use your zakat money maybe for doing dawah activities, to convince someone. He may be a rich person, but you're giving him literature, maybe about Islam, maybe translation of the Quran. He's not fuqara, he's not needy, but its heart is coming closer to Islam. Or maybe you can help him to solve his problem, and he may come closer to Islam. This is the 4th category. Number 5th is agarimun, a debtor. He's taking loan for some purpose, and if he's a debtor, you can use your zakat money and give it to him so that he can pay his debt. That is 5th category. Number 6 is freeing of a slave. To free riqab, freeing of a slave. You can use the zakat money to free a slave, to buy his freedom. Number 7 is ibn sabil, a wayfarer. A person who's traveling, maybe somebody robs his luggage, he has no money, maybe a rich man. He wants ticket to go back home. So you can pay from his zakat money. You may not know that once he may not return the money. You can pay from his zakat money. He may be a rich man. He may be a millionaire. But now, he doesn't have money in his pocket to go back. So you can help from his zakat money. When he goes back, whether he repays or no, it's different. You can use your zakat money to help a wayfarer, a traveler. And the last category is fi sabilillah, in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means you can spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe you can help a da'i, you can help him for education, you can help him to build a madrasa. So various categories come in fi sabilillah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes this obligatory charity which I mentioned in my talk, that 2.5% of your savings every lunar year, you should give in charity. Any of these 8 categories you can give. These are 8 categories that have been prescribed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One category is masakin, that is needy. The other may be needy, may not be needy. Of course, even a fuqara is needy. So, what the brother was trying to tell you, yes, you can give to a needy. You can also give to a person who is not needy. So, if it falls in any of these 8 categories, you are permitted to use your zakat. Hope that answers the question, brother. Yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
The same brother has any questions? Brother, you have any?
I'm a different person.
Brother, you have any other question? The same brother, can the microphone given to him? Sorry, I cannot hear you. Inshallah, inshallah. Inshallah, if Allah wills. Inshallah, I'd love to have a cup of tea with you also. Inshallah, the time is short, you can contact the organizers and we can meet to have a cup of tea. With the non-Muslims, I'm available. And you are the guest of honors for us. Inshallah. Do contact the organizers, if you can contact the brother.
Yes, maybe you can take his number, then. Yes.
And I mean it. Otherwise you say, Zakir bhai ne sirf phek diye. Cup of tea, cup of coffee, inshallah.
You are non-Muslim?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you give the microphone to the brother, please? Can you give the microphone to the brother, to Brother Chaudhary? Yes, Brother Chaudhary.
Sorry, sir. Dr. Saab, it's the same place in Al-Khair 33 near to Saeed bin Tamur Masjid. You've been there and your father been there. This is Chaudhary Bisharat with you.
Sorry, I cannot hear you clearly. I think the problem is in the system here. Normally they should have a speaker so that I can hear. Many a time the audience can hear, but I cannot hear because I'm on the stage. So normally when I say a professional system, it should be a monitor speaker for myself. So can you repeat a bit slowly, brother? It's not your fault, it's the fount of the system.
Sir, this is Chaudhary Bisharat with you, one of your friends. You've
Yes.
been to my place 15 years back. We had a cup of tea together near Saeed bin Tamur Masjid. And mashallah, your father also has been to my house.
Oh, mashallah, now I understand that. 15 years back, we had a cup of tea together.
Yes, sir.
Oh, mashallah, 15 years back. Oh, I don't remember, you have a good memory, mashallah.
That's why I said in the beginning that it's nice to have you back in Oman after 15 years, but you have been living with us 24 hours a day.
Okay, may Allah have inshallah.
And
we
every
pray, and we pray that we get closer, inshallah.
Inshallah. I'll
Inshallah.
appreciate if you can spare some time. Thank you,
Inshallah.
sir.
It's my pleasure,
Thank you.
inshallah.
God bless you.
Jazakallah shukran. May Allah give you also blessings and hidayah, inshallah.
No,
Yes.
we should, there is someone who's asking there, and there is this guy who's asking here. So we'll give them also opportunity.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
I'm in
alaikum
the
assalam.
second level. Second level.
Second level on the right, left?
No, on top,
Yeah,
on top.
on the right
on top.
side. On the right side.
Right side, okay, here.
No, here,
on
here.
your, on your left side. On your left side.
My right or your right?
No, your left side. Your left side.
Yes.
I do have one question, but before I'm asking my question, I'm really missing one of your inspirator, Dr. Israr Ahmad, because I have seen both of you
Sorry,
in
who
Bangalore when you
sorry,
were
who are you
giving the
missing?
grand lecture.
Sorry, who are you missing?
Dr. Israr Ahmad.
Dr. Isar Ahmad, mashallah, yes.
Yeah,
He's been very
because-
close to me, and may
yeah.
Allah grant him Jannah.
Yeah, because we do follow both of you. You are the team member. You are doing the great job for whole humankind. And we do appreciate and we do pray for both of you.
Ameen, ameen.
Now my the main reason of taking this mic, in your lecture you have told that Quran says if we pay zakah, it will solve the humanity, the poverty main problem. So I do have one concern. Even though there is a clear instruction from Quran, but because of zakah, what the rule says, 2.5% we have to pay. But still in the Muslim community, we do have lot of challenge regarding this. Still the poor people, poverty still exist. I believe we do have some responsibility which we are not doing collectively. Can you please enlighten what we can do in a concrete way so that we can really take the verse of this Quran to eradicate this social poverty issues? What are the weak links we do have that we are not eradicated since this holy book has given the right way?
Brother asked a question that I said in my talk that Quran says that if you give zakat, the poverty will be eradicated. I said that if every rich human being in the world gives zakat, poverty will be eradicated. That was my statement. That if every rich human being in the world gives zakat, poverty will be eradicated in this world. Leave aside the non-Muslims. Even the Muslims, we know that many of the Muslims, they don't give zakat what is due to them. Some may be giving part of it. Oh, this doesn't fall under zakat, this doesn't fall. Some may be giving more than what is required. But even if the Muslims collectively, we know, according to me, the richest men in the world, according to me, are Muslims. Don't go on the Forbes list. Huh? The Forbes list is only those people who have listed companies. According to me, among the 100 richest men in the world, 95 may be in the Gulf country. Because they have companies. The one oil company will be $200 billion, much more than Elon Musk or Bill Gates, one company. The thing is there that, yes, the Muslims as a whole are a very charitable people, but unfortunately, we may not be very well organized. So the right system at the time of the Khulafa Rashidin was a Baitul Zakat or a Baitul Mal. If you have a Baitul Mal and if you collectively take Zakat, and if you distribute under one particular body, it is more powerful. But unfortunately today, we are living in different countries. We may not know whether the body collecting can we trust or not. So because we don't have that trust, that's the reason we give zakat the way we feel is right. Some may be right, some may be wrong. But the right system is if we have a Baitul Mal or a Baitul Zakah, a body collecting, if we collect one particular organization which has a bigger reach and knows how to spend correctly, it will be more effective than individual people giving. But whatever said and done, as long as we fulfill our basic requirement of giving the zakat, as per the Quran, we are doing our minimum duty. Correct? Now, when I made the statement that if every rich person gives zakat, it includes every human being, Muslim and non-Muslim put together. Even if as Muslims, Allah has given us the wealth, if you give the proper zakat, inshallah, we can at least solve the problems of the Muslims of the world. So, of course, we should see to it that Allah has given wealth to few people exorbitant. So, if these few people who Allah has given exorbitant wealth, if they give the charity the way the Quran prescribes, then inshallah, even the problems of the Muslim world will inshallah get solved. Now, coming to your question, what can you do? What should you do is you as an individual should see that you are doing your duty. Allah will not question you, why did the billionaire did not give zakat? Allah will question you, if you are liable for zakat, did you give or not? So as far as you and I are concerned, we should see to it that we give our duty. And my recommendation always is that zakat is the minimum fard you have to give. But besides that, Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 261, that if you give one corn in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is charity, that besides zakat. Besides zakat, if you give charity, Allah says, with every corn you give, every grain you give, Allah will give you 7 years. Each year bearing 100 corns. That means Allah will give you 700 times. In business terminology, it is 70,000% profit. So there is no business in the world except business with Allah where you can get 70,000% profit. So I recommend to my Muslim brothers, whether you're rich or poor, besides the minimum zakat that you have to give, why don't you commit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala additional 10% of your income every year? When you start giving 10%, Allah increases your income, then make it 20%, make it 30, make it 40. And believe me, the more you give, the percentage with you becomes less, but the quantity remains more. And I've been a practical example to that. The more you give, and I told my son, see, when you're doing business, make Allah your business partner. And when you make Allah your business partner, you cannot make him a small partner. So minimum you have to give is 51% in the way of Allah. This is my recommendation, not Quran. But this guidance you get from the Hadith of the Prophet. And we have the example of Hazrat Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. He gave half his wealth. Hazrat Abu Bakr gave everything. So I tell my son that when you are doing business, see to it, minimum you give 51% charity in the way of Allah. Why? Allah, you should make him a bigger partner. And if you make Allah the partner, Allah will take care of your business. Zakat means purification. Zakat means increase. That you have to give 2.5% of your saving. But here, if you're making Allah your business partner, He will take care of your business. But when I recommend some people, 20%, too much test. What is too much? You start and see Allah will give you increment. I tell the businessman, start with 10% first of the profit besides your zakat. Make it 20, make it 30. Try and reach to 51% minimum. Keep on increasing as much as you can. The more you increase, the more benefit you get this world and the akhirah. Hope that answers the question, brother.
So we have, so normally this side is for the sisters. And you guys are, so we'll have probably 1 or 2 more questions depending. But before that, there is one brother is there. Brothers can come. Yeah? Yeah, brothers can come to that side, yes. Can you,
Sheikh, I want to ask, how can we deal with scalar thoughts that we can see that is spreading these days?
Sorry, brother, where are you, brother?
From...
Okay. Yeah, what's the question, brother?
I'm asking
why is the mic going to you? MashaAllah, there is. MashaAllah, brother, you're young, correct?
No,
you're healthy?
Yeah.
Are you young and healthy?
Yeah.
So why don't you come here? Why don't
think
you come to the microphone?
he's on a wheelchair. I
Oh,
think.
wheelchair.
Yeah,
Okay, yes, brother.
How can we deal with scalar thoughts that's spreading these days?
Sorry, how can you
Deal with the scalar thoughts that's
deal
spreading
with killer
these-
thoughts?
Scalar, like most of people these days.
Sorry, I think the sound system is not very clear. I cannot understand the question. Maybe the audience, secular, because
Yeah,
there's no
yeah.
microphone here. The professional system, as I said, the hall is very good, mashallah. Convention center, please request the organizers that normally when you say a professional system, this is my field, there should be monitor speakers. You have such a beautiful hall, such expensive hall, beautiful lighting. Why don't you have 2 monitor speakers for the speaker? I request the management, mashallah, you have got such a big hall, beautiful, everything. It doesn't cost much. to have 2 monitor speakers for the person who's speaking. You know, when the musician and haram they do, they have all these microphones. Why doesn't a dai have this? The only requirement I told the organizer is I require a professional microphone system, that's it. I don't want to stay in a 5-star hotel, I can sleep in the floor. I require a professional microphone system because if a dai is going at war, this is my weapon. If I don't have a professional microphone system, how can I speak? So you're asking a question, everyone is hearing except me and the person here. So they may be thinking this person is a fool, asking, repeat the question, repeat the question. I'm not a fool because you all can hear the microphone, the speakers are facing you, not me. So can you repeat the question slowly, brother? Sorry to bother you.
No problem. My question was, how can we deal with scalar thoughts that is spreading these days?
How can you deal with secular thoughts that are separating you with the deen?
Yes, and we can see that is spreading these days.
Yes, the brother asked a question.
Specifically, the new generation is getting affected with this thoughts that is spread in the websites and.
How can we deal with secular thoughts? Correct?
Yeah,
That's the question. Brother asked a question that how can you deal with the secular thoughts that are coming into your mind and they're disturbing you? You know, many things, you find in the world. And today, the whole world is a global village. Everything on the internet, you Google, you get the reply. You Google, good and bad, good and bad. It can take it very good for dawah, very bad to take you away from deen also. And this is the problem that because the world has become a global village, you go on the net and you find many things which may take you away from your deen. So the best way to keep you on your deen is to see to it that every day you read the Quran. When these thoughts disturb you, and if you read the Quran along with translation, it will solve most of your problems. Try to see to it that you at least read 1 juz if you can, along with translation. So in 1 month, you have rehearsed and refreshed your memory, and most of the replies to these secular thoughts are there. It is there in the Quran. Now, because of the world becoming a global village, you find many views that are disturbing. And when you see in the Western world, they are keeping on changing the values of life. And if a person is not attached with the Quran, there are high chances that he may deviate. He goes to a Western country, to America, to London, to educate himself, and he gets misguided. High chances. We have many of the Muslims, going to Western country. I'm not saying every Muslim that goes, but because of what they are taught in the schools, in the colleges, in the universities, intermingling of sexes, freedom of speech in the name of women's liberalization, they are taking away, they are talking about rights, but actually what they're doing, they're demoralizing them. So the best solution, brother, is that you should, depending upon the topic that is disturbing you, you should hear the talks of that dai. We give the solution to these topics. One thing is read the Quran. Second thing is certain dais are specialized in certain topics. Some in comparative religion, some in science, some in technology. So depending upon what is the thought that is disturbing you, one solution is read the Quran. The second is you hear the talks of those dais who are specialized in the topic. Hope that answers the question, brother.
So I think it's already, time is over. We cannot take any more questions. We have to go back. Yeah.
Brother, are you a gent or a lady?
One.
Are you a gent or a lady? Gent, then come here, please. Why are you standing in the lady section? Sorry? So you can't change your sex. Are you changing your sex? Please. I mean, these are sex. What's your name? You're a Muslim, no? You're a Muslim, then stand there. Non-Muslim, I can give exception. You cannot take the opportunity of a lady, one microphone full ordering for a lady, and you want to stand in the ladies' queue. This is not correct. Yeah. So tomorrow, if the toilet is full of the gents, will go in the ladies' toilet. Please. Please, can you stand there? Respect the rules of the auditorium and let the ladies ask a question. Are there ladies who have any questions?
Yes.
Oh, yes, sister.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Samira. What is the advice to become a best daya?
MashaAllah. Our young daughter or sister asked a question. What is the basic advice to become a daya? Number one, as I mentioned in my talk, the best profession in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a dai. As Allah says in the Quran in Surah Fussilat chapter 41 verse number 33, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَالَ مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in speech than one who invites to the way of thy Lord, works righteousness, and says that I am a Muslim? Number one is that you see to it that you enroll yourself in a good Islamic school. Because today's education, we started a school in Bombay, Islamic International School, education for both the worlds, Deen and Dunya both. And the school was so successful that the government could not digest it. So the government tried the level best to close it, and we gave it to somebody else. He could not run it that well. So number one is that you see to it that you ask your parents to enroll yourself in an Islamic school which has the best education of Deen and Dunya. We had a school called Islamic International School in Bombay. Their main purpose was to give them the knowledge of Deen and Dunya. In our school, we teach Arabic, Lugha Fusha, from the age of, moment you join nursery, we teach them, from the age of 3. By the time the student reaches standard 5, he's Hafizul Quran, along with the normal. We teach Arabic as a language, along with English. English and Arabic are the two major languages. Then there are additional local languages taught. We teach him public speaking from the age of 4, English public speaking, Arabic public speaking at the age of 6. So imagine a child is confident, mashallah, even you are confident, mashallah, asking the question at a very young age. So everything, this is the training. So we train them in our school. When we have the annual function, we don't imitate Michael Jackson or all these, stars and all. It may be Sheikh Saud al-Sharem, the Imam of the Haram, or Daila Sheikh Ahmed Didat. We inculcate the Islamic ethics from the beginning. So if we join an Islamic school, which is specialized in following Quran and Sunnah, we see to it that they start wearing hijab at a young age. We see to it that when they wear the Islamic attire, it is Islamic, the trouser above the ankle, covering the head. We instill in the child so much that the child starts teaching the parents. The parent, they may not be following Islam that much, but the moment when we teach the children, we ask the parents also attend our lecture. So advice for you, sister, that if we can join an Islamic school which has the best education for both the worlds. Besides that, the way they think, memorizing the Quran is easier at a young age than an elder age. The best age is to memorize between the age of 6 to 9, and you're that age. So see to it that you memorize the Quran. And in our school, when you do 1 hour a day, within 3-4 years, you memorize the Quran while doing your normal studies. In our school, we teach the martial arts. Every student, by the time they reach standard 5, girl or boy, become black belt. We have to be fit. The swimming is compulsory. Of course, many people are trying to copy our model, but they have not been that successful because our model is crazy. Our ratio is very low. The student-teacher ratio is very low. The student-teacher ratio is every 3 student, 1 teacher. For every 1.5 student, there's 1 staff. So our teacher-student ratio is very low. It's expensive, so what we do, from the rich people, we charge more fees. For the poor people, we give free. It's a non-profit school. So of course, it's difficult to have such schools now that have that concept. But surely see to it that you enroll in Islamic school. You can do your hifz, learn Arabic as a language from a young age. See to it you learn the international language, also English. Besides that, see to it, once you pass, you see to it that you try and graduate into an Islamic university, if you want to be a dai. And the same thing we did for my children, besides the school. All my 3 children, 2 daughters and my son, they are speaking Lugha Fusha from the young age, 3, 4. Then They graduated from Jamiatul Imam, my son. He did a bachelor's in Sharia from the Islamic University of Riyadh. And both my daughters from Jamiatul Noora. So my advice to you also, see to it, you enroll yourself in Islamic University so that you get the knowledge of the Sharia, so that you can be a better da'i. At the same time, make yourself fluent in Arabic and English. You hear the lectures of da'is who you like, so that at a young age you can start memorizing the talks. When you memorize the talk, the children can memorize very well. Allah has given everyone a capacity. Many children can memorize songs, 50, 100 songs. I mean, this is garbage. You memorize the Quran, you memorize the speech of the du'ats. So see to it that your life should be revolving around the Quran. And you make this as your priority about giving speeches, learning about public speeches. And there are training sessions. If you cannot, there's one option that we have online Al-Hidayah. Last year, we launched a paid social media platform. Everyone knows about Netflix. Who doesn't know Netflix? Who doesn't know Netflix? MashaAllah, everyone knows Netflix. Who knows Al-Hidayah? Raise your hand. Al-Hidayah. Al-Hidayah. Few people, maybe 20%. Al-Hidayah, I call it the Islamic version of Netflix. It's a platform which is the largest video content platform Islamic in the world. It is the largest number of courses in the world, where we have top 40 English-speaking du'as from all over the world. And recently, in January, 2 months back, we made it free. So the light version is absolutely free. If you want the premium version where you want to watch 4K, 8K, you have to pay. But the light version is free. You can enroll yourself. There is a Dawah training program called as Let's Become Effective Da'is. It is a 700 hours program of 350 hours of recording, where the techniques of Dawah are shared. It is done very professionally with 4K cameras. And in that 50 days, we recorded 3 petabytes. It's a Guinness Book of World Record. But they didn't agree. They said you have to inform us 2 months in advance. So it's a beautiful platform where there is a course on Dawah, Let's Become Effective Da'i. There are various other courses on Tafsir of the Quran and Hadith. You want to know about Hajj, you want to know about Salah. There are hundreds of courses, absolutely free. There are even programs for children. You go there and you put children's program, you will find our young girls of age of 4 and 5 giving speech in front of 10,000 people, 20,000 people in Bombay. The way they confidently they speak. So we start training from a young age. So this is a good platform that you can enroll yourself. You can ask your parents to see to it that they enroll. It is free. And this will give you some guidance about many things of how to see to it that you involve Dawah in your life. Hope that answers the questions.
Unfortunately, we cannot take any more questions. We have suhoor. We need to go to suhoor. Let me remind you of, no, we cannot take any more questions. Sorry. Yeah, we cannot. Sorry. It's over. Yeah. So, no, it's already, yeah, I've been informed to, yes, I've been informed to close, yeah. So I want to remind you of one more lecture of Dr. Zakir Naik on Saturday. That will be about, the title of the lecture will be Prophet Muhammad, a Mercy to the Humankind, on 25th of March at the Sultan Qaboos University. Also tomorrow we have Ta'aruf 6 event, but in Ta'aruf you need to register, yeah? For the talk you don't require to register, but for tomorrow's event you require to register. So thank you very much. Also one more thing, for any questions that you have, especially for the non-Muslims, you can always go to the Grand Mosque, to the Islamic Information Center. You take a copy of the Quran and you can ask questions there. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Zakir Naik, for the wonderful talk. And thank you very much for attending, and see you inshallah in the next dars.